The next two words are Rahman and Rahim. Both of these words, they come from the root word Rahma, which is actually the word used for the womb, the uterus, where the baby is kept and where the baby develops. Now, this was a revolutionary concept, and Arabs were not very happy with it. In fact, most of the people had a big objection to it because it was the first time in the history of mankind that Allah, the one God, the greatest God, and there was a concept of greatest God in almost every religion, the greatest God was referring himself by a word which was used for the female womb. And this is a very important concept in Islam. Now think of it. When the baby is in the womb of the mother, the baby is fed, protected, grown, sustained, and carried around by the mother. But at the same time, the baby has absolutely no idea that the mother exists. So the baby can't see her, he can't perceive her. He doesn't have that mental capacity to see his mother. He doesn't have the ability to see his mother, although he's inside the mother's body. Before birth, the baby has got no way of knowing that there's a world outside and there's a mother who's looking after him and who's protecting him, and all that he's getting, the oxygen, the food, the water, everything is coming from that mother. That is the concept of Rahman and Rahim. But much, much, much more than that, because the word here used is Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, which is a superlative degree. In other words, the same kind of care and love that a mother gives to the baby, but unimaginably more when it comes to Allah providing it to us. And how beautiful the example is that as human beings, we cannot see Allah. We cannot perceive that He's there and He's providing everything to us. It all seems to just happen naturally. Just like for the baby, everything is just happening naturally and he's just floating in the amniotic fluid and getting nourishment and growing and getting bigger and better, enjoying their life and existence in full comfort and not even knowing where all of that is coming from. And it's very similar to the human beings. We are trapped in this world of our own where we cannot see Allah, we can't perceive Him, but He's there and He's looking after us. And there's another very important purpose. Allah Ta'ala here is honoring the woman by mentioning His qualities in relevance to the womb. And this is not the first place and this is not the last place where a woman is honored by Allah. Surah An-Nisa, the fourth surah of the Quran, the very first ayah. If you read the ayah, in the middle of the ayah, you come across this part which says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ. And be aware of God in whose name you demand from one another and towards the wombs. So be aware of the wombs. And the next part is, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. Verily, God is ever watchful over you. He's watching you very closely. So imagine that where Allah is telling human beings to be aware of Him, to be mindful of Him, at the very same time He says also be very mindful of the wombs. Now the word wombs, plural, is used. Many people have tried to interpret it as saying that be aware of your mother. But your mother has only one womb. When Allah is saying wombs, He's meaning all women. He did not specify it. He said wombs, which means each and every woman, each and every female. So He is going to hold us accountable about women's right. And all men and women would be held accountable. So it's not just men who are getting this message. This message is for all human beings. That whenever it comes to dealing with women, whether they are mothers or sisters or wives or daughters, you have to be extra careful not to violate their rights. Just like you have to be careful when it comes to the rights of Allah.